Join me as we learn Chumash for Shabbos, the seventh Torah reading of Parshas Naso. Verse 84, chapter 7. Zeis Chanukas HaMizbeach. Yesterday we read about the dedication of the last 6 tribes that brought to the dedicating of the tabernacle. The day before was the first 6 tribes. The Torah now concludes. This is the dedication of the tabernacle, the dedication of the altar. B'yomi Moshe on the day that it was anointed. B'yes Nisiyei Yisrael, from the elders, from the leaders of the Jewish people, when they anointed, when the altar was anointed. What did they bring? A tally of Karis Kesef Shtei Mesrei. There were 12 silver bowls. Mizrikei Chesef Shtei Masar, there were 12 silver basins, Kapis of Shtei Mesrei, and 12 gold spoons. Rashi, B'yomi Moshe Choisei, what does it mean on the day that it was anointed? Rashi explains, Boi Bayom Shenimshach, the same exact day that they anointed the altar, Hikriv, they brought the sacrifices. Mani Mekayim, what do I have from this? Why does it then say Achrei Himoshach, after it was anointed? Shenimshach Tchila, that first it was anointed. V'achikach Hikriv, and only afterwards did they bring the sacrifices. So then maybe it means after they anointed it, that's when they brought it. Achrei Himoshach Lachar Zman, maybe they did it in a later time. Maybe it's not telling me that it was that exact day. Maybe it's just telling me that it was by day and not by night. But then when it says at the time that he anointed it, we already know that it was by day. So then what's the verse coming over here to tell me in the day that it was anointed? If it's coming to teach me that it was the actual day of the anointing of the altar, that they actually as well brought the sacrifices, and all the sacrifices brought it for the dedication of the tabernacle. Karis Kesef Shtei Mesrei, Heim Shis Nadvu, Heim. These are the same ones that they donated. There was nothing that got ruined in between. That means the exact ones that they brought to the Holy Temple, those were the ones that were used for the Holy Temple, and everything stayed proper and nothing got ruined in between. Verse 85. Shleishim Umeya, verse 85. Shleishim Umeya Akara Achas, the weight of each silver bowl was 130 shekel. Kesef of silver, v'shivim hamizra ka'echad, and there was 70 shekel was all the silver, all the basins were 70 shekel. Kel kesef hakelim, if you take the entirety of all the weight of all the vessels that were given, would be alpayim v'arba meyes b'shekel hakedesh, would weigh then 2,400 shekel according to the sacred shekel. Rashi, Kel why does the Torah have to repeat it again if you just do the math? Count each one of the tribes, count what they gave, do the math together, and you get a total. Why does the Torah have to give me a tally as if I can't do the math on my own? Because when it said 130 and he didn't say clearly what kind of shekel, therefore it repeats it again. And therefore includes all of them, that all the vessels that they gave were, when we talk about the weight, we're talking about the sanctified weight, the holy weight, which was much higher value. All the silver of the vessels, this teaching us that every single vessel in the Holy Temple was exact. Each one, he would weigh it individually and then put it together and see that the weight was exactly the same, that everything should be exact and precise to its measurement and weight. Verse 86. Kapes of Shtei Mesrei, there were 12 gold spoons, Malayas potatoes filled with incense. Asar akaf, each spoon weighed 10 shekel b'shekel hakodesh, again in the value of the holy shekel. Kol zav akapis, if you take the value of all the spoons, was Esr Mameya was 120. Rashi, Kapes of Shtei Mesrei, Lama Nemer, why does it have to repeat it again if we already learned by every single one of the tribes, Lefish Nemer Kafach Zav, that it was 120. If it says if each one was of gold and its weight was 10 shekel of weight of silver. If you look at it, it's very hard to understand. Is it that the spoon was gold, but the weight was of silver, or that it was of silver and the weight was of gold? And because if you weigh gold and silver, it's not the same. So which one was it? Talmud Leimar. Therefore, the verse of Eretz to tell me, Kapos Zav. The actual spoons were gold. Shal Zavayu. They weighed versus they would weigh it against silver to know what the weight was. Verse 87. Kol ha'bakar liyela, all the total of cattle that were brought as an ascent offering, Shnei Maser was 12 bulls. Shnei Maser parim, 12 bulls. Elim Shnei Maser, 12 rams. Kosav b'nei shana Shnei Maser, sheep, 12 young lambs. Umin chasam sirei izim Shnei Maser lachatas, as well as 12 young he-goats that were brought for a sin offering. 88. V'chol b'kar zevach hashlamim, and all the total of cattle that were brought for a peace offering. Esrim v'arba parim was 24 bulls, 24 oxen. Elim shishim, 60 ram. Atudim shishim, he-goat 60. Kvasam b'nei shana shishim, 60 lamb. Zeis chanukas hamizbeach achrei himashach oisei. This was the dedication offerings that were brought to the altar after the altar was anointed, beginning later on the same day, on the 1st of Nisan, for the next 11 days, the day of Rosh Chodesh, and the next 11 days when the sacrifices were brought. Verse 89, and when Moshe would enter into the tent of meeting, to speak with him, he would hear the voice of God speaking to itself, meaning, which was coming from between the Krubim, Asher ala reina edus, which was above the Ark of the Covenant, the Ark of the Testimony, from between the Krubim, vayidaber elav, and it spoke only to Moshe. As we're going to see, Rashi explains. Ubevoi Moshe, shnei ksuv machishim tzezeh. Seemingly, if you look at the verse over here, you have two conflicting verses. Until ba shlishi, you have a third verse that comes and settles v'chriya b'neim and gives us an explanation. What are the conflicting verses? In the book of Leviticus it says, "Vayidaber Hashem elav me'el moed," that God spoke to him from the tent of meeting. V'hum chutz laparechas, that he was outside the curtain. V'kosav echadomer, and then if you look back in the book of Exodus, v'dibarti yidcha mi'al hakaporos, then he will speak to you from above the ark, from on top of the kaporos. So which one is it? Did he go into the behind the curtain, or was he standing outside by the curtain? So I have now this verse comes and explains it. What is it? Moshe would walk into the tent of meeting. And while he was standing in the tent of meeting, not that he went to the Holy of Holies, while he was in the tabernacle, while he was in the holy place of the tabernacle, he would hear the voice that would emanate from the ark, from the Holy of Holies. What does this mean? The voice would come out from heaven, which would emanate from between the Krubim, and from there would go to the tent of meeting where Moshe was standing, and that's where Moshe would hear it. He would hear the voice. Yachol, you would think, being that Moshe was the only one that heard it, Kel Namuch, it was a very soft voice. Therefore, the Talmud Leimer, therefore the verse says, Es HaKoil, the voice. Not that it was, meaning the voice, telling us, it was the same booming voice that was heard by Mount Sinai. What's the difference? The difference was that when it came to the entrance of the tent of meeting, entrance of the tabernacle, the voice stopped and didn't go out. That was the miraculous nature of this voice. Though it was a booming voice that Moshe heard, nobody else heard it outside the tabernacle. Midaber, what is the word midaber? Speaking. Mistaber, being talked to. It's like the terminology that the Torah uses in a way of respect that God is talking to himself, and Moshe has the ability to listen into the conversation that God is having with himself. And he spoke to him. If he already said that he spoke to him, that was speaking to him, why does he have to continue and say again that he spoke to him? Seemingly it seems extra. That all these times when God spoke to Moshe in the tent of meeting, it excludes who it would be talking to, only to Moshe and not to anybody else. That's why the Torah says, and it spoke to him, not to Aaron. When it says it spoke to Aaron, it will tell us that Aaron was included as well. But generally, it was only speaking to Moshe. This concludes the Torah reading of Naso. This is the largest Torah reading, largest Torah reading in the Torah of 176 verses.